Okay, so the term Moshiach Ben Joseph is used nowhere in Tanakh. In fact, the word Mashiach appears in the Jewish scriptures 39 times, and it never, in not one instance, whether it's in Leviticus 5 or Isaiah 45, or Habakkuk 3 verse 13, is it ever referring to the Messiah. I know it's very strange, but again, when we study Scripture, be very careful. We are calling the person who is heir to the throne of David, who will rule, as fulfilling the promise that God made to King David in 2 Samuel chapter 12 verse 13, chapter 7 verse 12 through 16. But to be very careful, Tanakh does not use this language. The Messiah is called things in Tanakh, but he's not called Mashiach. Why? Because if we can go back in a time machine and walk the streets of Jerusalem, let's pick a good time, not a rough time. Let's go back. Let's say we're during the days of Uzziyahu and Yotam, who these two great men that was the silver period of Jewish history. Uzziyahu was a great man, ruled at the time the longest any Davidic king at that time. He ruled 52 years. He made a mistake in his life, but it was great times. Great times. Yotam, his son, never sinned. But Yotam would have a son who was Achaz, who would be the most horrific disaster, and then out of nowhere comes the greatest king that would ever lived, and that's Hezekiah. The Bible says there was never a king that sat on the Davidic throne that was as righteous as Hezekiah, and there never will be one who will be more righteous than Hezekiah, which creates an enormous problem for Christianity. Where does it say it? Come on. 2 Kings chapter 18 verse 5, write it down. It says explicitly, he is the most loyal king that ever lived and ever will live. And then I don't care if you can use the King James with 15 crosses on it, that's what it'll say. Really? There will never be a king more righteous than Hezekiah? The answer is yes. And therefore, that shuts the lid on the New Testament. What are we talking about? Okay. So the first is I have to do this because I want you to really get it. Okay. So Tanakh, the Holy Scriptures, and the literature of our sages of blessed memory, Chazal, the Chachamim, the sages, who are the